I'm Jason Isaacs, and I play Dr. Heinrich Volmer. When I read the script, I had the same reaction I hope the audience has, which is I had no idea what was happening and who to trust, and whether I was insane or whether Dane's character Lockhart was insane, and whether this place that I run, this institution, was Shangri-La or an evil cult. Talking to Gore, what became clear was that he was interested in nuance and in keeping everyone surprised all the time. And that was, the idea of coming to play with a man who had clearly a sense of mischief was exciting. The thing about Gore as a director and a storyteller is that he has the whole thing in his head before you start. And he just was able to bring it to life to me on the telephone when we talked originally. And I wanted to see it. In fact, I wanted to be there to be one of the first people to see it, so I had to be in it. It's tough to talk about the character that I play. He's got a very mottled history. He's the director of the Institute. He sets the whole thing up, and when Dane gets here, certainly he thinks that I'm some kind of evil cult leader. I may or may not be nefarious, or I might just be a man who's happened upon the secret to happiness. It's up to Dane to find out and the audience to wait and see. Dane's character, Lockhart, turns up and ruins what is a very good thing. It's a place where people are incredibly happy. They're the most successful people in the world, and they've finally found some peace and some relief, and he turns up and ruins everything as far as I'm concerned. And I don't take that too lightly. In this institution, there are a bunch of old people who are ending their lives here very happily, and there's this young girl, rather strange young girl who doesn't seem to know anything about the outside world. I've raised her. She's almost like my daughter. And I seem to be very caring, but maybe overprotective of her. And that might possibly harbor dark secrets, or it might just be that I'm a very caring person. Mia, I think, is relatively new to the business. She's only done a couple of things. And it means that there's a freshness on set, and there's a sense that things have to feel real and be real that she brings to it that I might well have had decades ago. I'm a little bit jaded now, so it kept me on my toes, that's for sure. I'm not sure I've ever met anybody who has the entire film and all of the edit in their head before they start, like Gore does. And he comes to the set with a giant whiteboard with drawings on them and storyboards that only he can interpret. And it means that you feel very safe, in very, very safe hands. And if you have some ideas of how to do things differently or change things in a different direction, he's always open to listen. But it better improve on what he's got in his head, and most of the time it doesn't, and that's fine and very comfortable. Jenny Bevan's costumes are fabulous because they give you a sense of place and time. So everybody's in white at the institution, and it has a strange sterile purity to it. But there are also some timeless costumes down in the village, and also there's a big ritual ceremony in the film somewhere, and everybody is in these capes and gowns that don't quite belong to any century. And that plays into the set as well. The set often, these odd mid-century rooms, although it's a very modern institution, a lot of even the light switches and the tables don't quite belong unless they're just, they're classic. So there's a sense of disquiet through all the design. One of the places we shot was Berlitz, which is this village which was a hospital and a psychiatric institution after the First and Second World Wars, and also that the Soviets used to send their political dissidents to and fry their brains out, lobotomize them. And it's known as the most haunted place in Germany. And there's certainly something very uncomfortable about shooting there, as we did at night for weeks at a time. And hopefully it bled into the film. The film is very creepy and disturbing in places in a very fun way. And the fabulous makeup that Sharon did, and the costumes that Jenny did, and the Eve's set designs all contribute to this sense of dread that the film has throughout. And yet, I don't know why, but there's something deliciously enjoyable about being made that uncomfortable by a film and by the filmmaker who knows just how to turn the screw. It's creepy and it's funnily awful, and whilst we all take it very, very seriously, and you know, hopefully you won't see us snickering, we had a laugh making it, because if you're not enjoying yourself, you won't tell a good story. And in the end, that's what this is, a crackingly good story.
So did you like that video? Well, I've some interesting movie extras facts for you. Matte paintings were extremely popular before the CGI era. These are actual projections or paintings placed behind foreground objects to trick audiences into believing the actors were in a different location. Examples include the Statue of Liberty jutting out from the sand in Planet of the Apes from 1968 and the Emerald City awaiting Dorothy at the end of the Yellow Brick Road in The Wizard of Oz from 1939. Subscribe to our channel and check the notification bell to always be up to date with all the latest releases.